when people think of Kansas, usually they probably think of just as, flat, as far as the eye can see. And a lot of Kansas is like that. But as you get out towards the western part of Kansas, it's very different. And so today I'm going to show you around some of the things that are very cool and very different than probably what the stereotypical thoughts about Kansas are. We're starting here in Castle Rock, and this is interesting because obviously the formation kind of comes out. This is kind of a Badlands area in the Smoky Hills region, and this is obviously rock that's been formed long time ago. But historically, it was interesting. This was on the Overland Trail, and the Overland Trail is kind of a alternative to the Oregon Trail in the 1840, 1850, 1860, something like that range. And this was kind of a landmark, so they could see it coming across the plains. And I did the whole Oregon Trail last summer, if any of you watched those videos, and it went a little bit north into Nebraska, so this was kind of parallel to it a little more south. And in Nebraska, they would get to Chimney Rock, and I think it was called Jail and Courthouse Rocks, and they kind of came out of nowhere all of a sudden as a landmark for those travelers. And this was an early version of this. The Overland Trail started in Atchison, Kansas, and then it went through Kansas into Colorado, and then it ended up joining the Oregon Trail in Fort Bridger, Wyoming. And so this was definitely an important landmark along the way, and great that it's still here. It's a long drive down some dirt roads to get here, but well worth it once you get here. It is started to weather. This rock is very brittle, same as the ones in Nebraska. You could pull it apart pretty easily. So the wind and the rain has weathered it down, and it used to be much taller. In fact, they said that one of the spires on the top fell in about 2001. And obviously there's probably knuckleheads that come out here and climb on it, and that makes it worse. So if you're coming out here, or if you're with your kids, make sure they're not climbing all over it. It's very inviting to do things like that because you're just kind of out here and it's free to visit. So good way to get our day started here at Castle Rock, Kansas. I drove in here, I drove around to the left, and that takes you down to Castle Rock, but if you go to the right or circle back around, there's a whole nother grouping of rock formations. It's pretty awesome. I didn't realize there was so much here. It's the first time I've ever been here, so you can spend a lot of time. You can hike all kind of around down through the rock formations. So we'll continue exploring here around Castle Rock. I had seen pictures and heard about it, and always thought it was mainly just the Castle Rock part, but the Badlands surrounding is maybe even more impressive. And so, man, you could spend an entire day out there checking things out. Definitely be aware, though, if you're driving a car, that there's some rough spots, and you're going to want to be careful there. And a high clearance vehicle would be recommended if you're going to try to drive down and around where kind of the Castle Rock is and the Badlands. So, okay, off to our next destination. unlike Castle Rock, I've actually been here before. This was I did a video early on in the channel. One of the first ever videos I did, I was just driving around Kansas and I stopped here. And I remember being really pleasantly surprised by the vastness of how big this was. I thought I was just get a little walk and see some cool rock formations, but this is a very interesting place to visit, and you know, you can take some time exploring here. Very windy. I'm at there's a trail you take, and I'm at the very end of the trail. It's over a mile to get here, and they have a couple of different overlooks, and you know, it's a cool little walk. It's very, very beautiful. It is a state park, so unlike Castle Rock, where you can just kind of go wherever you want, here you got to stay on the trail. It's $5, and you know, I think you can take guided tours, kind of maybe down into kind of the valley of the area, but it's still the walk you can take is just fine. And there's different displays telling you all about, you know, things, educational things along the way, different birds and different you know, vegetation and all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, it's definitely a cool stop. And really, you know, I've been to places like, you know, Zion and Bryce Canyon, and these places have these incredible structure, you know, incredible high, you know, mountains and things, and obviously those are just spectacular. And I think what's interesting about a place like this is it just kind of comes out of nowhere. There's nothing around here like it, except for we were at Castle Rock, you know, 50-60 miles away, and there's a few more things that are spread out, and you know, and then all of a sudden it's just kind of this pops up. So I think that's why it's interesting and kind of a cool place to visit. Just south of Little Jerusalem State Park, just maybe 3 miles, is Little Pyramids. And this is one that people don't talk about very much. It's small. It's just right along the road. Actually, the road goes right in between the two, which is kind of cool. It's on private property, so there's not a lot to do here except for to check them out. But definitely, if you're at Little Jerusalem, it's a real easy little detour to come down here and check out Little Pyramids. I wanted to wait till the end of the day to come to one of the most picturesque places in the entire state of Kansas. This is Monument Rocks, and it's definitely a cool place that you would never expect to be in Kansas. I wanted to wait till later in the day to come to one of the most picturesque places in the entire awkward if somebody walks up behind